Hi, my name is Patricia McClellan Terrell, and I write under the pen name P.M. Terrell. My first book was published in 1984, and since the year 2000, I've become much more involved in the writing and the publishing community. And I found that what authors always seem to want is higher book sales, and what they need is a formula to do that. I've been mentoring authors since 2002, and I decided this year to begin the novel business, which takes all of the information that I've learned over the last 15 years or more and puts it into different blogs and videos and ways in which I can pass along this information to others. The official launch date for the novel business is January 1st, 2017. It takes a very different set of skills to write versus selling. Most authors I know absolutely love to write. They love the solitude, the creativity, the world that each one of us creates with each book that we write. It's an introverted type of activity in which we're alone most of the time. But selling can be a very extroverted exercise. It takes us out of our comfort zone and it makes us into sometimes what we feel is a carnival barker, selling something when that's not our passion. Our passion is to write. I've often been asked, well, don't publishers market and sell my books? Yeah, they used to, but not anymore. When the book industry began the massive changes that have taken place over the last couple of decades, publishers began streamlining. And one of the things that they did is they placed the marketing and the selling efforts squarely on the back of the authors. There are exceptions. If you are in that 1/10 of 1%, a huge celebrity, for example, or a well-known political figure, or someone who has already had New York Times best-selling books, then those publishers are going to put the money into the marketing and promotional campaigns for you. But if you're not in that stratosphere, then it's very unlikely that the publishers are going to do all that much to sell your book. And ultimately, they're going to place the book's success or failure squarely on the backs of the author. For more than 2 decades, I've been analyzing the authors who succeed versus those that will fail. And it's reached the point where I can tell almost immediately after beginning a conversation with an author whether their book is going to sell a lot of copies or whether it's only going to sell a few. And one of the things that I've noticed is that those who are successful treat the marketing effort as a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not something that you can do for 3 months or 6 months and then expect it to hit the bestseller list. The second thing is a marketing plan. The authors who truly succeed in this business have a written marketing plan, and that marketing plan becomes a blueprint. It greatly increases their odds of succeeding because they can simply go right down the list of things to do. So what exactly is a marketing plan? Well, a thorough, comprehensive marketing plan consists of an analysis of the market, your market, for your specific genre. It's going to be different for a science fiction book versus a mystery or suspense or a romance or a nonfiction book. Second is understanding the business-to-business marketing, B2B, and that is targeting bookstores, libraries, distributors, and other middlemen that are going to be getting your book out to the readers. Third, it's understanding the business to consumer marketing, or B2C. The consumer is your ideal reader, and you actually have to market your books to two different segments. One is the business to business segment, and the second one is the business to consumer, to the readers. The fourth is taking into account the differences between fiction versus nonfiction. There's a lot of websites and a lot of books out there that tell you exactly how to market your book if you have written something that's nonfiction. But fiction is totally different, and we have to approach it from a different standpoint. Another piece of the marketing plan includes what's called a SWOT analysis, SWOT, and that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths, for example, could be that your book is groundbreaking, or that it gives the reader something that they've never seen before in a book or never read, or gives it to them in a unique manner. Weaknesses are ways in which your book or yourself or your publisher may be weak. For example, your publisher may be very small and not have a good distribution network, or you may not have a name for yourself yet. Maybe this is your first book, and so people outside of your immediate friends and family circle don't know anything about you and your writing. Opportunities are ways in which you can promote your book. Venues, places on the web, ways that you can get your book and your name in front of the reader. And threats are things that could prevent you from getting your name and your book out there. For example, if you're self-published, your book may be non-returnable, and some bookstores may want to close their doors in your face because they cannot return your books if they don't sell. None of these things are insurmountable, but by performing a SWOT analysis, we take a good look at those challenges that you're going to face so that we can turn those minuses into pluses, into something that's going to work in your favor. A comprehensive marketing plan is also going to include what we call the marketing mix, and that consists of the product, the pricing, the place, and the promotion, sometimes referred to as the 4 Ps. The product is your book. It's the genre, the title, the page count, summary data such as the book blurb or your elevator speech, and formats such as hardcover, paperback, mass paperback, or audiobook. The pricing strategy determines what your price should be and why that matters. You may not have input into the pricing strategy if you're traditionally published, but if you are self-publishing, this is going to be a huge component that will help your book sell. The place is where your book will be sold, both online stores and brick and mortar stores. Where your book will be sold will affect all of your promotional efforts. And the promotion itself consists of your marketing efforts, how your book is being sold, how you are branding yourself as an author, and how you are getting both your name and your book out there in front of the readers. The promotional plan is the key to your success. You can have the best written book ever, but if you can't get it in front of the readers and the readers aren't buying it, you're going to fall flat. I like to use blogging as the hub for a successful promotional plan. This is also known as content marketing. There are definitely do's and don'ts with blogging, things that you can do that would increase your odds of getting people interested in you as an author and in your books, and things that you don't ever want to do because it will turn away the reader. You also need to get the media's attention. And how do you do that? If you need to reach newspapers, magazines, radio, television, podcasts, any number of media outlets, there are definitely ways that you can increase the odds of getting the media interested in covering you and your book. You can define yourself as an expert. This is much easier to do when you've written a non-fiction book, because having written the book proves that you are an expert. But how do you do that if you've written a book of fiction? But there are ways to do it. You can use your research. You can use what you've learned in order to put together your book. You can use the process of writing, or you can use themes in the writing. There are definitely ways that you can put yourself out there as an expert. Next is social media marketing. A lot of people joined Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and other social media outlets because they wanted to personally. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're putting yourself out there as an author, every single time you post or tweet, every time that you put yourself in front of the masses, in front of your followers, you are branding yourself and you're branding your books. So there is definitely a set of rules to successfully market in social media. There's also ways that you can advertise. Advertising does not need to cost a fortune. There are ways that you can advertise on Facebook, which is the #1 outlet for business to consumer, or ways that you can advertise on Twitter, which is the #1 business to business outlet, and make every single penny count. Get the most bang for your buck. In fact, successful marketers analyze all of their marketing efforts and all of their advertising efforts, and they determine what their conversion rate is. A conversion rate is how many people actually saw your tweet or your post or your ad, and how many of those people actually purchased your book or met another goal that you set, such as raising the number of followers or raising awareness of your website or having hits on a particular blog or landing page. You need to understand conversion rates and understand why they matter so that you can continue to adjust your marketing and promotional plan for the best successful effort. Last is how you get interviews. Interviews don't cost you anything. They're not advertisements, but you do need to be able to get yourself out there in front of radio and television and podcast audiences. A solid promotional plan also addresses things such as giveaways and why you never ever give away a copy of your book. It also addresses blog tours, ways that you can get around the world to audiences across the globe without ever leaving your chair. A successful promotional plan understands physical signings where you are actually there in person, and the differences between sitting at a bookstore signing books as people pass your table versus an event such as a writer's conference or book fair, or talks like a talk that you could do at a bookstore or at a library. The promotional plan also considers community events, ways in which you can get in front of audiences that you may not otherwise tap into. It includes printed materials, handouts, and which are the most effective and which are the ones that are most likely to be thrown away. And it also encompasses email campaigns, how to get email addresses, and how to do it in a way that you're not spamming people, and also snail mail campaigns and how you can make those the most effective. Well, how do you know that your promotional campaign is effective? It all boils down to running the numbers. We're word people. We don't generally work with numbers. So I'm going to be showing you an easy way to do this. But you can actually estimate your sales even if it's your very first book. There are ways that you can look at the industry and trends in the industry and see what the average book sale is per author or per title. You can also identify the stages of a book. People tend to think that once their book is out there that it stays at the same stage the entire time, but that's not true. There are stages of a book just like stages of a person, from birth to decline. The launch is the birth of your book, getting out there in front of the masses, and then it rises to a particular level before it begins to level off or decline. You can actually do certain things to prevent it from declining or to delay that. Then once you've done your promotional campaign, you compare your estimated sales to what your actuals were. You look at each component of your promotional plan and you determine which was working effectively by the number of hits that you got, or retweets, or post likes, or post shares, or the number of comments, or the number of hits on a blog or a landing page. You compare the ones that worked the best to the ones that didn't work or that fell flat. Then you adjust your marketing campaign moving forward so that you continue to do the things that bring the readers in and you discard the things that nobody was interested in. A lot of authors think that once they get out there and they do a little bit of promotion, if something doesn't work the way they want it to, well then that's it, they failed, or their publisher has failed, or something's not right with their readership. But that's not the truth. The truth is that marketers, professional marketers, are always adjusting their promotional plan. That's why you see different advertisements for everything from Budweiser to Coca-Cola to clothing to Amazon. Everything is always being adjusted, and that's what you will need to do as an author selling your book. When you're developing your marketing plan and your promotional campaigns, you also need to determine who does what and when. Do you do it all yourself? That would save you a lot of money if you could do that. Or are there certain things that you need teamwork for, whether it's someone volunteering to help you out or if you hire someone? And when does each piece get done? You also need to determine your milestones. For a brand new book going into the market, you may have a milestone after 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and a year. And you also need contingency plans. What if your writing career doesn't take off the way that you wanted it to? What if your book isn't taking off? What if the only ones that ever buy your book are your family members? Well, then what do you do in that case? Contingencies doesn't mean that you're walking into this thinking that you're going to fail, but it's walking into it with your eyes wide open, realistic expectations, and then having a plan so that if your book begins to falter or your career is not taking off, what can you do? By having a contingency plan, it prevents you from going into a full panic mode. So that when you see the numbers start to fall or maybe never start to rise to begin with, you already have a plan in place so that you can just turn the page and say, okay, well, this is happening, so this is what I'm going to do at this point to better my chances of success. This is all a lot of information, and that's why I started thenovelbusiness.com. It's for authors like you who really want to increase their sales and help their career to take off. And throughout the year, I'll be posting free blogs so that you can visit the site anytime and read those subjects which are most interesting to you. I will also be doing a comprehensive marketing plan, which is 52 components that take you from knowing absolutely nothing about marketing to understanding how to best develop your marketing plan and your promotional efforts. There's also a business plan for the small publisher or even the person who is self-published, because if you're self-published or even if you're traditionally published, you are a business. That book being published made you a business. There is a premium membership that begins in January 2017 that includes different areas of the website, including forums and answers to specific questions. Either you can ask them of myself or of other authors who have been there and done that. The marketing plan consists of 52 weeks. Each week there is step-by-step information, a video tutorial, and downloadable slides or course materials, so that each week you get tips and techniques that you can use that fills in your marketing plan, develops your promotional plans and your promotional campaigns, and it also gives you things that you can use right then. There are dialogues and conversations with other members who are going through the course. You can sign up for the course and receive a year's premium membership for free. If you don't want to spend any money, but you are interested in the free blogs, then you can sign up for them at any time at thenovelbusiness.com. But if you're interested in the 52-week marketing course with the free premium membership for an entire year, then pause this video here and click through to the link that you see there for the marketing toolbox. Whether you sign up for the marketing plan over 52 weeks or you just want the free blogs, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you've learned a few things about what makes the difference between those authors who will succeed and whose books will sell and continue to sell year after year versus those that will fall flat. Remember that marketing is a marathon, and for as long as you want your book to sell, you will need to have a marketing or promotional campaign active at all times. This has been PM Terrell. My website is pmterrell.com, and this is brought to you by thenovelbusiness.com.